Hi everybody, and welcome to the super condensed version of the rules for Bora Bora. Bora Bora is a game where you expand your village and gain workers and buy jewelry and do things to build up your village and essentially at the end score the most points. Bora Bora is played in 6 rounds, denoted by these columns of the jewelry here. So every round people are going to be able to buy some jewelry, and when you do, that gets cleared out. So round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you play 6 rounds, and each round has 3 phases. You have the actions round, the man and woman phase, and then you resolve this side of the board. So I'm just going to go through these one by one. Also, each player receives this player board. This whole part of the board just has pictures, iconography to explain different parts of the rules that you'll need to remember or reference throughout the game. This is where you put all your huts and people that you add to your village. This is the ceremony space. These are your buildings. This is a god token. You put your jewelry here. Your tasks go down here. Okay, so basically actions. Every round, everyone's going to roll their dice, and then you're going to play them on these action spaces one at a time and resolve the action. This action will allow you to either expand over water or expand across land. If you took a die, put it here, you would then be able to expand. Every expansion from one location to another has a die represented. So if you wanted to expand from here to here, you would need a 5 or greater. If you wanted to expand from here to here, you would need a 3 or greater. Here to here, a 2, here to here, a 1, etc., etc. With a 6, I could basically expand anywhere that I wanted from anywhere. So that's basically expansion. When you expand, you just basically, I'm going to go from here to here, put this here, you get the award in the building box. If there's anyone there, you slide them out. And that's basically it. These fish points here for the end game bonuses. For every hut you have in the building space of a region, you will get the points for that fish. So you want to be the last person in a building space on the fishes that are higher points, probably 6, 4, whatever. But any of those that you are in at the end of the game, you'll get points. Then you have the man-woman phase. So if I were to put a die here, let's go with green and go with 2. Basically, I can take a man or woman from these tracks of 2 or less. So if I paid a 6, I could take any of them I wanted. But if I put the 2 here, let's say, and this is just a brief explanation of anytime you go to do an action, you must play a die less than what is already here, the lowest one there. So even if there's more than 1. So if I wanted to do another man-woman action as red, I would have to pay less. I would have to use a die less than 2. Unfortunately, I only have 2 6s, so I couldn't do that again. So that's how placing dice works. So the man-woman, you put it here. You take one of these, you put it here. After that, we have the helper or trading space. So when you play here, whatever you play there, however many dots or pips there are on the die, you can trade for different things. So for every 1 dot, you can shift 1 man down, 1 woman down, or gain a point. When you shift men or women down, if you shift a man down, you get to go that many spaces denoted by the number of tattoos on here up the status track, 2, 3. So what that is, at the end of every round, wherever you are on the status track, you get that many points. And whoever's furthest along on the status track is going to end up being player 1 in the next round, and further, and so on and so forth. Once you shift a man or woman, they are permanently shifted. You only can do that once per man and woman. But each man and woman also has an action on the right-hand side of them, which you get to activate in phase B of every round. And this whole track summarizes all of the different types of men and women and their actions that they can do. There are 3 of each in the game. So finishing up the helper action. So for 2 pips, you can shift huts down to your corner space to free up spaces for men or women. You can gain an offering, gain a god card, or any 1 resource for every 2 pips. So if I had played a 5, I could shift a hut down here. That's 2, so there's 3 left. I could take an offering. That's 2 more. There's 1 left, and then I can just gain a point, or I could shift a person, because there was 1 pip left. The next action is the temple action. Same thing. whatever value of die you put there, you could put a priest on the temple track in the corresponding number space. If I had a red on 2 and I'm green and I put a 2 on there, then if for the green to go here, it's going to slide the red down. Anytime you go to a spot where there's already a person, you're going to slide them down. And any cascading effects, you slide them down. They can even be slid off, the things. What happens with the temple track is every round during phase C, during the temple phase, you see for every priest you have here, you get 1 point in the first and second round, 2 points in the second and third round, 3 points in the third and fourth round for every priest you have there. And whoever has the most priests gets a god tile. God tiles function like god cards, except you don't have to make an offering, and it can be any god card you want. The build action, you put a die here, whatever that is, you can build that building or less. So with a 5, I can build the 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. To build, you have to already have the necessary resources. If I had a rock and a wood, you replace those, put your building there, and you flip it over. The building shows that you get the mystery amount of points and a fire bonus. To know how many points you get, whatever round you're in, 10 points first and second, 7 points second and third, or third and fourth, and 4 points fifth and sixth. And the fire bonus, basically, your player board will tell you, gets you either a god card or an offering, and you can either go one up the status track or take a seashell. Oh yeah, by the way, the women, when you shift them, they give you seashells, as denoted on the left of this. And if see this woman will give you a god card if you use her action during the man-woman phase. Seashells are for buying jewelry. That's basically all that they do. You do want to buy jewelry because you can get quite a few points throughout the game, and you can even get a bonus 6 points if you've bought one piece of jewelry every round in the game at the end. Okay. After each person has played all their dice, you then move on to the man-woman phase. Now, you might have up to 12 men or women on your card here by the end of the game. As long as you have these spaces open, you can put a man or woman there. You can either expand these away, or there are certain actions that can allow you to put these onto this space of your board. And this, you can put as many as you want here. And to shift huts to this space of the board, that's actually one of your trade actions. So once you get to the man-woman phase, you get to activate one man and one woman with their actions. So this guy allows you to get another man of 3 or less. So in every one of the men and women do different things. Some get you other men and women. Some get you, you can expand. Some allow you to get resources. Some allow you to get points, god cards, and so on. This will remind you of all the different types of men and women that are in the game. Man and woman phase, each person gets to activate one man and one woman. Once you're done with that phase, you move on to the final phase. So you look at the status track, see where everyone is, give them their points, and then if, say, it was here and here, so green would get 2 points, red would get 6 points. Then you put the closest one back first, the farthest one back second, and now this is the new turn order if it is changed. Now it would change, so now red would be number 1 and green would be number 2. Second player. After you do that, you go to the temple track. You look at how many priests are there for each person, give them that many points per priest, and whoever has the most gets a god tile. Then you go, everyone gets to buy a piece of jewelry if they can. After everyone's had a chance to buy jewelry, if there's any left, you wipe them out. That column's empty. You now know that you have completed round 1. Although you have one more part of it, you complete tasks. Everyone has to complete one task. You must complete one task. So even if you haven't filled the requirements of the task, if that's the case, you get rid of one, you're going to get 0 points, and yes, you don't get a completed task for that round. But if you complete the requirements, like this one, you need to have one jewelry and one woman on your board, and you will complete this task. So you would put this here, so by the end of the game, you see how many tasks you've completed. And if you can complete 9, which is completing a task every round plus all 3 at the end of the game, you'll get a bonus 6 points. And that would be the end of the round. So when the round is over, everyone takes their dice off of the action spaces. So after you complete tasks, whether you get points or not, everyone will also take a new task from the board. If there's any tasks left, you get rid of those, you replace them with more. You're always going to put 2 more tasks here than there are players. So in a 2-player game, there would be 4. You also wipe out anything left for the men and women, and you replace those with brand new ones. When you get to the end of the game, basically you have final scoring, which is represented down here. So you get a bonus for every god tile you haven't used, 2 points. You'll get the amount of points, like I said earlier, of the fish next to any regions where you have a hut in the building space. You will get all the point values for any of the jewelry you bought, and then you get 6 points for completing any of these tasks. So if you had 9 tasks, any of these achievements. So if you had 9 completed tasks, you would get 6 points. If you had 6 pieces of jewelry, you get 6 points. If you have filled up this with either buildings or resources, you get 6 points. If you built all your buildings, you would get 6 points. If you have 1 hut in every region, you get 6 points. And if you have all your spaces filled with men and women, you get 6 points. You go through all that. Whoever has the most points wins. I will briefly just mention the God cards. So God cards you can play blue and white in the phase A. They all coincide with specific actions. So the red card in A or B, and the green card in B, and the yellow card in C. The blue card allows you to actually play a die of greater than or equal to value than what's here. So if there's a 3 here, and I have no 3s, but I have a blue God card, I could play that, spend an offering, discard the blue. Now I can put anything here higher than the 3 or equal to it. So that kind of breaks that rule. The white card, the white God, allows you to play any die as if it was a 6, but you still have to play them according to the rules. So let's say I had a 5 here, and I want to play this 2 on the temple, but I wanted to put it higher up. So I could play the 2, but then I can play the white card, give it an offering, and I can count this as a 6, and I can put a priest on the 6 point here. The red allows you to score the fish points when you expand. If I wanted to expand green to here, and I want this 1 point, that's kind of silly. If I want to expand green here, and I wanted this 5 points, I can play the red card, give it an offering, and I can score those 5 points then. You can only do it as you expand. So you can actually end up getting double points if you play your cards right. Haha, pun. So that can happen either by doing an expand action, or during phase B, the man and woman phase, because different men and women allow you to expand. Now, also during phase B, you have the green card, which doubles any male action or allows you to do an extra male or an extra female. So you would end up with 2 male and 1 female, or 1 male and 2 female actions, or you can double a single one. If I doubled this, I would be able to take a man of 6 or less. Final God card is the yellow cards. If I play the yellow card, I can reduce the requirements of any task by 1. Let's say I only had a woman on my village, but I didn't get a piece of jewelry. I could play a yellow card, reduce the requirement by 1, and complete this. However, anytime you use help to complete a task, it's only worth 4 points, so you lose 2 points. But you still get a completed task, and it'll count towards the total of 9 at the end if you're trying to get that 6-point bonus. That's basically it. It's the God cards, everything else, and that in a nutshell is how to play Bora Bora.